was the man everyone envied, blameless, wealthy, and a pillar of righteousness. His name was spoken with admiration across kingdoms. 1,000 servants moved at his command. His children danced in halls built by joy and legacy. His life was perfect and full of admiration. Until the accuser took notice of him. Somewhere beyond the clouds, a conversation took place, not on earth, not among men, but in the courts of heaven his name was mentioned, not by angels but by the accuser. What you're about to watch isn't just a fairy tale. It is the story of temptations, trials, and steadfastness in faith. It is the story that unveils the reason why it seems God is silent when we need him most. This is the story of a man tested beyond human limits, a man whose faith was pushed to the edge and whose endurances echo through generations. This is the story of a man whose scars told the story of an unshakable faith, and a man with the story that gives the reason why the righteous suffers like there is no God. This is the story of Job, the righteous man from the land of Uz. In the heart of the ancient East lived a man of immense wealth, respected by kings, adored by his family, and revered for his integrity.
Where are you going?
Mama! Job, I heard the others say he's going to tell them about God and about everything that's happened.
You've asked me many times, Job, how is it that your household prospers? Why do your children sing with joy? Why do your servants speak well of you? And why, even in small troubles, you seem at peace? It's not because I am better than you, or stronger, or without weakness. It is because I know the character of our God. And you ask me again that, but Job, how can we trust God when hardships come? What if we lose our flocks? Or our harvest fails? Or sickness enters our tents? Yes, trials will come. They come for all men, whether rich or poor, strong or weak. The sun rises on the good and the wicked. The storm does not ask whose roof it falls. But listen carefully, all of you. We do not love God only for his gifts. We love him because of who he is. Because his mercy endures forever. Because even in the dark, he remains light. Even then, when God seems silent, when answers do not come, even then, we hold fast. When God is silent, he is not absent. When we cannot trace his hand, we trust his heart.
He was not a prophet, neither was he a king, yet he was the kind of man others prayed to become. His fields were full, his children were happy, and his heart was pure before God. He had 7 sons and 3 daughters, and he owned 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 donkeys, and had a large number of servants. He was the greatest man among all the people of the East, His sons used to hold feasts in their homes on their birthdays, and they would invite their 3 sisters to eat and drink with them. When a period of feasting had run its course, Job would make arrangements for them to be purified. Early in the morning, he would sacrifice a burnt offering for each of them, thinking, "Perhaps my children have sinned and cursed God in their hearts." And this was Job's regular custom ways of honoring God. And because of his deeds in genuine love and respect for God, God set his glory, blessings, and protection upon everything he had. And so the man prospers in all his ways. But one day, something changed. Somewhere beyond the clouds, a conversation took place. Not on earth, not among men. In the courts of heaven, his name was mentioned. Not by angels, but by the accuser.
Where have you come from? From roaming the earth, walking back and forth through it. Have you considered my servant Job, a man blameless and upright? He fears me and turns from evil. Does he fear you for no reason? Haven't you surrounded him with protection? Blessed every inch of his life? Of course he worships you. He's never had to bleed for it. Take it all away. Strip him bare, and I swear, that same tongue which blesses you now will turn and curse you to your face. Very well. Everything he owns is in your hands, but do not lay a finger on the man himself. We'll see how faithful faith really is when there's nothing left to believe in.
And so the testing began. In one day, in one breath of eternity, Job lost everything. His cattle were driven away and stolen by the Chaldeans, his servants slain, his sons and daughters crushed beneath the weight of a falling house, and the silence of heaven over him was louder than any scream. A man with everything now becomes a man with nothing. A man of honor now becomes a man of horror. A righteous man now suffering the fate of the unrighteous one. Yet Job didn't speak against God. Rather, he remained silent for a breath. Job prayed to God in his troubles, yet heaven was still and quiet upon his matter. In his sorrow, he tears his robe, shaves his head, falls to the ground, and worships God.
Naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I will depart. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. May the name of the Lord be praised.
In all this, Job did not sin by charging God with wrongdoing. Neither did he curse his Creator. One day, the angels came to present themselves before the Lord again, and Satan also came with them to present himself before him.
From where do you come? From roaming the earth, walking back and forth through it. Have you considered my servant Job? There is no one on earth like him. He is blameless and upright, a man who fears God and shuns evil. and he still maintains his integrity, though you incited me against him to ruin him without any reason. Skin for skin. A man will give all he has for his own life. But now, stretch out your hand and strike his flesh and bones, and he will surely curse you to your face. For no man loves you more than his own life. Very well then, he is in your hands, but you must spare his life.
So Satan went out from the presence of the Lord and afflicted Job with painful sores from the soles of his feet to the crown of his head. The suffering was great enough to deny God. Job would take a broken pottery to scrape the sore on his body as he sat in the ash. Out of pity and love, his wife would come to say to him, "It is better to curse God and die than this." Yet Job refused to wrong God. Yet Job maintains his integrity before God. He never cursed God nor denied his God. One day Job's three friends, Eliphaz the Temanite, Bildad the Shuhite, and Zophar the Naamathite, heard about all the troubles that had come upon him, and then they set out from their homes to go and sympathize with him and comfort him. When they saw him from a distance, they could no longer recognize him. They began to weep aloud, and they tore their robes and sprinkled dust on their heads. His condition has gotten so worse that they don't know what to say. There they sat on the ground with him for 7 days and 7 nights. No one said a word to him because they saw how great his suffering was. And then in that atmosphere, Job started.
May the day of my birth perish, and the night that said, "A boy is conceived," be remembered no more. May it turn to darkness. May God above not care about it. May no light shine on it. That night, may thick darkness seize it. May it not be included among the days of the year, nor be entered in any of the months. For it did not shut the doors of the womb on me to hide trouble from my eyes. Why were there knees to receive me and breasts to feed me that I might be nursed? For now I would be lying down in peace. I would be asleep and at rest with kings and rulers of the earth who built for themselves. Why is light given to those in misery and pain, and life to those with the bitterness of the soul and in sorrow? Why do those who long for death see no death, and those who search for it like a treasure find it not? Why do the unrighteous flourish and live in peace, while the righteous cry to God in their troubles, and he seems to be quiet? For what I feared has come upon me. What I dreaded has happened to me. I have no peace, no quietness. I have no rest, but only turmoil.
You are a man who have instructed many. You have strengthened many feeble hands by your words. Your words have supported those who stumbled. You have strengthened faltering knees. But why then does trouble comes, and you are discouraged? It strikes you, and you are dismayed. Should not your piety be your confidence, and your blameless ways your hope? Consider now. Have you ever seen an innocent man being destroyed? Have you not even taught that the upright are protected by God? As I have also observed, those who plow evil and those who sow trouble reap it. At the breath of God they perish, at the blast of his anger they are no more. Can a mortal be more righteous than God? Can even a strong man be more pure than his Maker? If God places no trust in his servants, if he charges his angels with error and faults, then how much more are you a mortal man, Job? I myself have seen a fool taking root, but suddenly his house was cursed. His children are far from safety, crushed in court without a defender. The hungry consume his harvest, taking it even from among thorns, and the thirsty pant after his wealth. But if I were you, Job, I would appeal to God. I would lay my cause before him. For he performs wonders that cannot be fathomed, miracles that cannot be counted, and he forgives even the wicked in their wicked states.
Teach me, and I will be quiet. Show me where I have been wrong. Have I ever said, "Give something on my behalf, pay a ransom for me from your wealth"? If only my anguish could be weighed and all my misery be placed on the scales, it would surely outweigh the sands of the sea. The arrows of the Almighty are in me. My spirit drinks in their poison. God's terrors are marshaled against me. Do I have the strength of stone? Is my flesh bronze? How painful are honest words. But what do your arguments prove? Do you mean to correct what I say and treat my desperate words as wind? You would even cast lots for the fatherless and barter away your friend. But now relent. Do not be unjust. Reconsider, for my integrity is at stake. Is there any wickedness on my lips? Can my mouth not discern malice?
Then Bildad the Shuhite said to Job,
God does not pervert justice. The Almighty does only what is right. When your children sinned against him, he gave them over to the penalty of their sin. But if you will seek God earnestly and plead with the Almighty, if you are pure and upright, even now he will rouse himself on your behalf and restore you to your prosperous state. For he is a merciful God.
Indeed, I know that this is true, Bildad. But how can mere mortals prove their innocence before God? If only there were someone to mediate between us, someone to bring us together, someone to remove God's rod from me, so that his terror would frighten me no more. Then I would speak up without fear of him. But as it now stands with me, I cannot. If I could see him, I would say to God, do not declare me guilty, but tell me what charges you have against me, so that I may know my wrong.
Job's friends continued to oppress him with words. They continued constructing fine speeches against him, until he becomes more sorrowful and weary than he was. Yet he never cursed God, but plead his case before him. For he said,
As surely as God lives, who has denied me justice, the Almighty, who has made my life bitter, as long as I have life within me, the breath of God in my nostrils, my lips will not say anything wicked, and my tongue will not utter lies. I will never admit you are in the right. Till I die, I will not deny my integrity.
Then one day God broke the silence. Then the Lord spoke to Job from the storm.
Who is this that obscures my plans with words without knowledge? Stern, brace yourself like a man. I will question you, and you shall answer me. Where were you when I laid the earth's foundation? Tell me if you understand. Who marked off its dimensions? Surely you know. Who stretched a measuring line across it? On what were its footings set, or who laid its cornerstone? While the morning stars sang together, and all the angels shouted for joy. Who shut up the sea behind doors when it burst forth from the womb? Have you ever given orders to the morning, or shown the dawn its place, that it might take the earth by the edges and shake the wicked out of it? Who cuts a channel for the torrents of rain, and a path for the thunderstorm, to water a land where no one lives, an uninhabited land? Will the one who contends with the Almighty correct him? Let him who accuses God answer him. Brace yourself like a man, I will question you, and you shall answer me. Would you discredit my justice? Would you condemn me to justify your righteous act? Let the man who accuses his God for being righteous brace himself and answer me.
Look at Behemoth, which I made along with you and which feeds on grass like an ox. What strength it has in its loins, what power in the muscles of its belly. It ranks first among the works of God, yet its maker can approach it with his sword. A raging river does not alarm it. It is secure, though the Jordan should surge against its mouth. Can anyone capture it by the eyes, or trap it and pierce its nose? Can you pull in Leviathan with a fishhook, or tie down its tongue with a rope? Can you put a cord through its nose, or pierce its jaw with a hook? Will it keep begging you for mercy? Will it speak to you with gentle words? Will it make an agreement with you for you to take it as your slave for life? Can you make a pet like a bird, or put it on a leash for the young women in your house? Will traders barter for it? Will they divide it up among the merchants? Can you fill its hide with harpoons, or its head with fishing spears? If you lay a hand on it, you will remember the struggle and never do it again. Any hope of subduing it is false. The mere sight of it is overpowering. No one is fierce enough to rouse it. Who then is able to stand against me? Who has a claim against me that I must pay? Everything under heaven belongs to me. I will not fail to speak of Leviathan's limbs, its strength, and its graceful form. Who can strip off its outer coat? Who can penetrate its double coat of armor? Who dares open the doors of its mouth, ringed about with fearsome teeth? Smoke pours from its nostrils as from a boiling pot over burning reeds. Its breath sets coals ablaze, and flames dart from its mouth. Strength resides in its neck, dismay goes before it. When it rises up, the mighty are terrified. They retreat before its thrashing. The sword that reaches it has no effect, nor does the spear or the dart or the javelin. Iron it treats like straw, and bronze like rotten wood. Arrows do not make it flee. Sling tones are like chaff to it. A club seems to it but a piece of straw. It laughs at the rattling of the lance. Nothing on earth is its equal, a creature without fear. It looks down on all that are haughty. It is king over all that are proud. Yet the Lord God created it. The wings of the ostrich flap joyfully, though they cannot compare with the wings and feathers of the stork. She lays her eggs on the ground and lets them warm in the sand, unmindful that a foot may crush them, that some wild animal may trample them. She treats her young harshly, as if they were not hers. She cares not that her labor was in vain. For God did not endow her with wisdom, or give her a share of good sense. Yet when she spreads her feathers to run, she laughs at horse and rider. Does the hawk take flight by your wisdom and spread its wings toward the south? Does the eagle soar at your command and build its nest on high? Would you then discredit my justice? Would you condemn me to justify your righteous act?
Let the man who accuses his God for being righteous brace himself and answer me.
What word should I speak again? Your ways are true and just, and your deeds are unquestionable. For you know all things, and you do all things the way it seems right. I had heard of you, but now my eyes have seen you.
After God had finished speaking, Job was humbled, thoughtful, for he reminded Job of the stars he flung into space, the oceans he sculpted, the creatures he formed, and his vast wisdom and righteousness. In the end, Job's life was restored, not just double the wealth, but deeper wisdom that comes from experiential knowledge of God and a legacy that would echo through generations. The story of Job teaches us that God desires to make us proud. It also teaches us that faith that only exists during good times is shallow, for true faith endures even when life collapses. Throughout the story, Job and his friends wrestle with the question, why do the righteous suffer? Sometimes we won't always understand why we pass through some certain challenges in life, but God remains in control and sees a bigger picture we can't. Job's friends accused him of hidden sin, assuming that suffering was always a sign of God's punishment. Yet Job held on to his integrity, insisting he had done no wrong, even when everyone around him doubted, not because he was a self-righteous man, but because he genuinely knows God and had a relationship with God. At the end of the story of Job, God restores Job's fortunes, blessing him with even more than before. Suffering isn't the end of your story. God can bring restoration, but it often looks different than we expect and comes in His timing, not ours. Just as He has spoken in His words, that those who wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. Perhaps you need this prayer. Say it after me. O God, my Creator, thank you for you're my God. Thank you for your everlasting love. I know your thoughts for me are of good and not of evil, and I know you have wonderful expected ends for me. Therefore, I ask, O God, strengthen me to remain steadfast in times of challenges. Help me to be confident in you and look up to you alone. Grant me the strength of an eagle to scale over the storm of life. Lead me not into temptation, and deliver me from all evil and accusers. Thank you for you have answered my prayers. In Jesus' name have I prayed. Amen.